Thanks for those who came on their own. Those of you who got corralled in with money. Welcome to our session on meeting the needs of the health and wellness consumer. We actually did this session out at an NGA conference in Las Vegas a couple weeks ago, and Eric's uncle, Jim Nielsen of Geisler's, helped and participated on the panel. We thought that it was really worthwhile to talk about this trend that's happening across all channels and give you some insight. So, you hear about health and wellness every day. You hear about it in the news. It really does cross every channel. You hear about retailers installing nutritional rating systems at shelf, dietitians on staff to guide consumers. You see in-store flu shots, free diabetes medication, healthy recipes. And if you missed it, last month there was an 8,000 store drug chain that made a very public announcement where they were going to stop selling tobacco products in their stores. It was particularly interesting because they walked away from $2 billion worth of sales. So it was very significant, the impact it had. So over the next 30 minutes or so, our group plans on providing some insight for you on who is this wellness consumer. What categories are they focusing on, and what can we do as retailers to really capture their needs and create a wellness campaign in our stores. We're fortunate today to have three of Imperial's rising stars who have had some experience with retailers who make health and wellness really a point of difference in their go-to-market strategy. And so I'd like to ask our panelists to please introduce themselves to the group, because there may be some folks other than the 15 Imperial team members that are here that do not know you. So I'll start with Steve.
I am Steve Perry. I'm the Director of Category Management for Health and Beauty Care at Imperial.
I'm Naomi Sleeper. I'm an account manager at Imperial.
Kevin Cooley, and I'm the Manager of Marketing Communications at Imperial.
And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Tony Germano. I head up strategic initiatives here, and over the next 15 minutes, I'm going to take you through some slides that are an overview on health and wellness. And this really does encapsulate a white paper that was published by GMDC on who the health and wellness consumer is. And I'm the one who's responsible for the timing of the slide advancing. The pie chart that you see here on the screen is the entire US population fitting into segments of who the wellness consumer is. The core consumer is really the one that is the most lifestyle involved in health and wellness. And they serve as trendsetters. For this group, health and wellness is a major focus point. They not only buy naturals and organics, but they're tuned in to products and the product attributes. They make wellness a part of their everyday routine, and they have very high levels of involvement in health and wellness, not only as part of their routine, but it also includes the social aspect of it as well. There are about 42 million consumers that fit into that core health and wellness category. The next level are the mid-level consumers. These consumers do purchase a fair amount of health and wellness products. They're the largest segment of the population. About 62% of the population fit into this category. And for us, meeting the needs of that group is really critical because they represent the greatest area of opportunity and growth for us. They aspire to be more like those core consumers, and they already have a level of commitment to that health and wellness lifestyle. And in this group, there are 194 million consumers for us to market to. And then there is the periphery. Those are really the entry-level consumers. They want to be more involved, in health and wellness, but they're typically not quite at the stage of having their behavior follow their aspirations. They tend to be more reactive and much less proactive. This group is composed of about 78 million consumers across the country. So to capture that core and mid-level consumer, you really have to be right in what we call gateway categories. The gateway categories are the ones that actually open up the door for that consumer to be in your store, shop the products that are most important to them, and really create this overall experience. It's extremely important for us to be right here, and it's not just in the fresh areas. It also encompasses other areas across the store that promote a healthy lifestyle, from ways that we hydrate our bodies to how we ensure we have the right balance of vitamins, even to the way that we clean our hair and clean our homes. These gateway categories also have a segment of the natural and organic trends that are happening. And if you take a look at this chart, you'll see that they have a 3-year double-digit growth rate. And last year alone, there was $2 billion in growth from the year prior in products that they were bought. They were buying the naturals and the organics, the gluten-frees, and even those that are offered under the fair trade standards. And we all know that the naturals and organics are found in produce. We've seen this branch of products grow out into center store, but what you might not realize is that we've also seen this segment grow into health and beauty care, in general merchandise, and into the pet areas as well. It's significant because that $2 billion of growth is really there for us to capture as that consumer enters our store. So the question that you might be asking is, what does it really translate for me into my store? GNDC looked at the buying habits of the health and wellness consumer, and based on where that shopper fit in, you can see the amount of money that they typically spend in the store. So if you are a consumer in the periphery, a conscious, deliberate decision to buy health and wellness products equates to about $59 a month for the average store. For the mid-level consumer, they're spending around $159 a month. And you can see that the core level is just over $300. It may not seem that impactful until you take a step back and remember how many shoppers are in your store every week. We have some stores that may have 1,000 or 5,000, 25,000, 30,000 shoppers a week. If you use the most conservative estimate and say that an average store has 2,000 shoppers that fit somewhere between the periphery and the mid-level, and they're spending $100 a month, it's $200,000 at retail that you are either capturing or that it's sales that are there for you to capture. And 2,000 shoppers in a store is very, very small. So if you extend out, Eric, if you think about the number of shoppers that are in your store on an average week, the sales potential is truly significant. So here are some ways that stores can improve their health and wellness environment. Everywhere from the food areas by improving on the healthy and the prepared foods, to expanding organics and locally grown products in the produce sections, to expanded OTC areas in health and beauty care, personal hygiene areas. Does your store carry expanded vitamin sets or expanded skincare sets in health and beauty care? Again, linking back to those gateway categories, do you have the right assortment to bring that consumer in your store and to keep them there. But it's not just about the right products at the right retail, merchandised in the right place. It's really not enough. Shoppers sense urgency to make good choices today, but they tend to be frustrated by their own lack of knowledge and information. So for retailers to be successful at capturing that group of consumers that's between the periphery and the mid-level, we really need to make sure that we keep information prominent in front of the eye of the consumer. Product packaging and labeling helps, but that still doesn't really go far enough. And if you think about the core shopper, they're the expert. They understand the product. They know what the attributes are. They get the benefit. They're not the ones that we need to worry about getting all of that information out there in front of. It's really where the biggest majority of opportunity lies, which is in that periphery and mid-level group of shoppers. And those folks, if they don't have access to that information, they become frustrated and tend to not make the purchase even though they're well-intended and want to be able to create the sale at shelf. And hopefully this is where our panelists will come in and provide some insight and ideas in some real practical ways to take the information in the study and help you to make some practical decisions at store. So we're going to shift gears and go from our overview to asking our panelists some real specific questions. And I'd like to start with Naomi, and let's keep our conversation on a more macro level. So we may have a retailer here that says, I don't know where to start. How do I create a strategy to bring the health and wellness consumer in my store by creating an environment in my store? Could you share some thoughts with us on a retailer that you tend to have some very close and intimate knowledge with?
Well, the retailer that I work with, the health and wellness is really part of the identity of their store. It's really integrated into their values and their mission. It's not just a marketing strategy. You see it in all departments throughout the store. So whether it's produce that's coming locally and that's organic, or that's in their meat department, they've got organic and free-range meat, and dairy standards. Their seafood is brought in based on farming standards, and throughout their grocery department they have natural and organic product. Also, they have bulk sections that are really focused on health foods, whether that be whole grains and or dried fruits and frozen fruits and vegetables. This is really integrated throughout the store, and it's really part of, there's a lot of education that you talked about throughout the store, and that's how they're really promoting this to their customers, who are really what I would call more of the core health and wellness consumers. These are people that are looking for the organic product, the natural product. And you see it also in their body care and their lifestyle products. They're all really focused on health and wellness. So it's something that you can really see throughout the store in all of the departments.
Right, the total store approach. If you could provide for the group how do you start in health and beauty care in particular? And retailers are really good at perishables in the perimeter. You get into center store, and health and wellness in particular and HBC are going to be really challenging. Where do they start?
Well, I think the retailers really need to focus on the gateway categories within health and beauty care, and I would start with probably three: vitamins and nutrition, skin care, and hair care are probably the three most recognizable within health and beauty care, and something that these customers are really focused on. So within vitamins, you need to be right on the assortment. Traditionally, a lot of retailers in the past have only given the vitamin category a 1 or 2 4-foot shelf assortment, and today you need much more than that. You need to really expand that whole assortment. You need to give it more footage within the store to really draw that customer in. And you need to be right on the sub-segments as well. So you need to be able to highlight multivitamins, adult vitamins, children vitamins, specialty segments like heart healthy, and really focus on the entire assortment. And then also within vitamins is the nutritional segment, which is primarily nutritional bars that have just exploded over the last 5 years. Double-digit growth over the last 5 years. The trend is that they're going to grow an additional 12% every year over the next 5 years. And you need to be right on the assortment there as well. There's actually sub-segments within the nutritional bar category. So you've got kind of the healthy snack, makes people feel good that they're eating a healthy snack as opposed to a Snickers bar. You've got the bars that really target towards the athlete or the person that's working out. And then you've also got the diet segment. So the first two segments are about 80% of that total. Diet's about 15 or 20% of the total. So you need to make sure your planogram is right and within each one of those segments. And you also need to be on top of the new trends, the new flavors, the new brands that are coming out is all driving growth within that category. As far as skincare, the customers that are looking in skincare they're all about health and healthy skin. And you want to concentrate on having sun care products with SPF, regular skin care products with SPF, and one of the new buzzwords over the last few years has been hydration. So there's now products out there that talk about hydrating the skin, and that's a real key and something that customers are looking for. And then finally within hair care is a great category because it's part of everybody's everyday hygiene. People feel good, they want to make sure they look good, and hair care is a great way for somebody to spend an extra $1 or $2 on an organic or natural hair care product, really feel like they're doing something good for themselves and they feel good about it. And it's a way for them to use products that don't have fragrances or a lot of the harsh chemicals that the mainline brands have.
Great, so it's really taking a step back from HBC, look at the big three categories: vitamins, nutrition, skincare, hair care, make your mark there before you move on to any other categories.
Correct, and then expand out from there, but really key in on those three categories first.
Great, thank you. So Kevin, Steve talks about expanding those big three categories in health and beauty care.
Sure.
And my guess is that there are some folks in their seats saying, well, if I expand on those, then I have to shrink somewhere else.
Right.
And that is likely a decision that comes with some anxiety and with some risk, because you want to make sure that whatever moves you're making are going to be positive on the sales side as you shrink other areas.
Sure.
What can we do merchandising-wise so that when we do place emphasis on these health and wellness categories, that we're bringing the eye of the consumer to the shelf?
Sure. As we know, space is limited in a lot of stores. So what I would recommend is integrating your health and wellness assortments into your basic inline sets. Basic scan reports can help you identify the lower selling tier items that could be removed in order to make room for health and wellness type items. But cutting them in isn't enough. You need to draw attention to those health and wellness items. Natural organic shelf danglers, colored shelf strips, pegboard backing paper for peg items, digital signage, which allows you to create and deliver targeted messages that could educate, inform, and actually motivate a health and wellness consumer to buy it at shelf. Promote it, show value, merchandise it in high traffic areas. And if you want a good example of these concepts, if you haven't already, I welcome you to visit the Imperial Innovation Center, where you can see a lot of these concepts displayed.
Yeah, we did, in Las Vegas, we didn't have a chance to plug Imperial at all. We had to keep it very on the more general basics. We wanted to make sure we could put our plug in today, so thank you. Kevin, if you don't mind, I'm going to stay with you. So you offer some thoughts on merchandising, which is a concept or a specific action that you can do at shelf. But we all know that a lot of activity with that shopping experience is happening outside of the store as well.
Sure.
Can you touch briefly for the group on other ways that we can promote health and wellness and that environment in the store outside of the store?
Sure. The health and wellness consumer is very savvy when it comes to digital media. So in my opinion, it's important to focus your marketing efforts and strategy in that area. And there's 3 areas I would concentrate on: your website, social media, and mobile. I was able to attend a Nielsen webinar a few months ago, which was entitled "Engaging the Elusive Consumer." And one of the most important takeaways from that webinar was that consumers are shopping less, but engaging more. You can use this trend to your advantage by using your website to post recipes, tips for exercise programs, information on diabetes or gluten-free products. Engage your customers on social media. Share your thoughts, ideas, promote events. Make sure if your customer is interacting with your social media page that you're responding. If they're asking you a question about a recipe, that you're responding right away. Consumers do not want to wait 2 or 3 days to get a response on your Facebook page. And in mobile, today 67% of all cell phone users have smartphones. In 5 years, that's going to be 80%. So I would take advantage of mobile. Shoppers Club cards, coupons, sales circulars, all these can be scanned and downloaded to your mobile phone, and you need to make sure that you're in sync with this technology at the register. I have my Shoppers Club card on my Keyring app, and I use that when I go to the supermarket. I was very upset when my gym didn't have the technology to scan my phone because I threw all my Keyring stuff away. So I think it's important to focus on those 3 things the most: your website, your social media platforms, and mobile.
What Kevin is describing, by the way, is very consistent with the message that we heard at the National Grocers Association meeting a couple weeks ago, where we heard from the Senior Vice President of Pepsi. We heard from folks that are testing these new mobile apps at targeting a specific consumer in a specific location in a store to stimulate purchase at shelf. And it's interesting because it's technology that's being tested.
Yeah, so there's some technology being tested right now where there are sensors in the grocery store, and it will allow companies to beam advertisements to people's smartphones at the exact time they're standing in aisle 6 deciding on what can of beans they're going to buy.
If you'd like to hear more about some of that technology that's being tested and that's available, I'll plug the NGA website right now. You could actually go to their website and see some of those practical applications that we saw in their technology pavilion. It was very, very eye-opening. Naomi, when you look across the store, it's easy to understand natural and organics and produce. It's easy to find range-free chicken in the meat department. You walk down Center Store, you can see natural and organics in mainstream grocery, you can see the gateway categories in HBC, and then there's general merchandise. Typically the forgotten little category. But health and wellness has really hit general merchandise as well. Could you provide for our group a taste of what's happening in GM and how you can keep that environment consistent across the store by hitting that area as well?
Yeah, I think there are opportunities in almost all GM categories, and you can kind of look at it, breaking it down into products that promote healthy people, healthy pet, and healthy home and environment. When it comes to products to promote healthy people, there are the products that are the better for you products that are made from people-safe materials. So in the categories of food prep, that might include products that comply with national sanitation standards. We sell cutting boards, for example, by Epicurean that are NSF or National Sanitation Foundation approved. It might be plastic that's BPA free, like some of the product that you might see out on the floor, like by Progressive, for example. And then if we move on to other categories like toys and baby, a lot of parents are really concerned about healthy products and baby safe products particularly when it comes to their children. And so we have products that are, or you can find in stores in general, products that are baby safe, and it might include products made from organic cotton. It might include, rather than regular plastic, products that are made from, it looks like plastic, but it's actually plant-based material. So that's considered to be more baby safe and a little bit more healthy. And there are various brands that make this. Greenpoint is one of them. And then there are also products that really promote a healthy lifestyle. So kind of accessories to some of the hydration and supplements that Steve was talking about. A lot of stores sell a lot of water bottles to really promote the continuous hydration, or blender bottles that you use your supplement powders with. And then also a lot of stores you might find yoga and exercise products that are sold, particularly maybe in January, in a kind of healthy eating post-holiday period. And then also just in the general toy category and kind of children's category, there are toys and gardening kits that are intended to really educate children about healthy eating and encouraging them to eat their vegetables and that kind of thing. So those products are out there, and they're really suitable for supermarkets and in the grocery industry. And then when it comes to healthy pet, there's a lot of natural and organic products specifically for pets. It might be like Aussie Organic makes organic shampoos and sprays and that kind of product. And then you might see out there today, there's a brand called Poochie Naturals that they make natural, dog and pet shoes. So those products are out there, for their furry friends too. And then when it comes to healthy home and planet, with a comment about cleaning being a gateway category. So we do see the products that are cleaning products that have the non-toxic chemicals. And then also, when you're talking about healthy home, it kind of broadens to healthy planet. A lot of the consumers who are concerned about health and wellness are also concerned about the environment, healthy environment more broadly. And then we can start looking at products that there's actually even a broader range of products in GM that you can look at that are really focused on eco-friendly materials, production and use of those products. So that might include product made from post-consumer recycled plastic or stainless steel. Brands like Full Circle cleaning products is an example of that, or products that are recyclable, like or made from sustainable manufacturing processes. So we have a line of bakeware, metal bakeware that's complies with certain manufacturing standards. Nordic Ware is one of them. So there's a lot of opportunities in sort of the broader sustainability field as well. That's a little bit more tangentially linked to this health and wellness category.
Thank you. So we have a few minutes left. If you would like to ask any of the panel or myself a question about what you heard today, now is your chance. No, Steve, you did not. Yes, sir.
So I thought I heard somebody talk about, when you're highlighting it, starting off with like a dangler type thing to draw attention to it.
Yes.
For merchandising. Now, do you find that it should start with the perimeter of the store, that if you're going to go with growth in that category? I mean, personally, I know in my store, if you're going to just talk about organics alone, I have 238 different organic products. I know this because I've been counting and putting up a sign on it, but one of the type of things to do is to get the people that are asking for it to actually realize what the stuff is, even though it's in the store and we're putting up a sign up front and saying that we have it, but actually getting them to realize that it's
So are your products integrated?
They're integrated.
They're integrated. So a dangler, if you have you know, 2 items, 1 item on a shelf of 20 items, a natural or organic dangler right next to that item could call attention to it, and you should do the job.
Do you think that'd be better than having just like, if you were to put something that would actually go on the tag that would say organic, do you find it, do you know of a difference between?
The dangler is going to be bigger, and probably they're going to see the dangler. I mean, it might make sense to do both.
And the thing that we've been talking about is that for customer shopping behavior to change, to make it different than what they may have been doing in your store before, you might need a more prominent, in-your-face kind of approach, because they haven't noticed that it's been there before. You really call it out with, you can go one of 2 ways. We've talked about whether you do a dangler that simply identifies the item as organic, or you could do something a little more customized that says organic and tells the benefit of the product, so that it gets back to that consumer you're trying to reach, making sure that they have the information that talks about the benefit that stimulates the sale. And I hope that helps.
One other benefit of, you know, the dangler versus the tag that's just, you know, on the product itself or right below it, is that if someone is really looking for organic product, but isn't necessarily focused on aren't necessarily looking for a specific item, but they just know that, you know, they have a general shopping list, or, you know, and they want organic. When you're walking down the aisle, you can see the danglers.
Right.
So it's not, as opposed to going to the section and then, you know, kind of scanning all the product for the one that you're looking for.
Any other questions?
I have a question. The core health and wellness category being obviously vitamins, that was talked about. What do you feel that the latest media impact on the use of multivitamins and vitamins in general, with being a waste of billions of American dollars, how do you feel that will impact the vitamin industry in the future?
Sure. Do you want to take that, or?
Well, I can tell you, I've been out of health and beauty care for 10 years, and 10 years ago, there were those same types of reports that came out, and 10 years later, they're still talking about it, and the category's still growing. So I think there's a segment of consumers out there that feel good about taking vitamins and are going to continue to take vitamins because they feel that they're getting something out of it.
Has the Imperial as a company seen a recent decline in purchases?
Now, as a matter of fact, when you take a look at Imperial and then nationally, when you look at Imperial vitamin, the category growth over the last couple of years has been very steady on the increase. And vitamins and nutrition right now is outpacing every other center store category for year-over-year growth. And think about the categories that are in that center store for these categories to be outpacing them. It really is phenomenal, and I think it's, you know, part of that story. So I don't think that you can, like Steve said, necessarily let the media, the impact of the media, think that it's going to have that kind of an effect, because we're not seeing it at this point.
And even when you look at the national numbers, you look at all classes of trade for vitamins, last year vitamins was still up over 5% in general, and that trend, I'm still continuing to see that trend.
Thank you.
Anyone else? If you don't mind, I think our panel deserves a round of applause. Just in case you're wondering, the presentation that you see here, that you saw here today, is going to be available in the Imperial newsletter that will be going out tomorrow. And we will also make available the GMDC white paper on capturing the health and wellness of consumer in your stores available. You'll see that as well, so that you can take it back and in the comfort of your office be able to review it for more content. Thanks very much for coming today. We really appreciate you being here with us.
Thanks.